Hey, I want to formally thank everyone for being here today with us, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce our presenter. Her name is Kim Keitzman, and I hope I'm saying that right. Kim, please feel free to correct me if I'm not. She is the director of the Altoona Public Library in Altoona, Iowa, and I am going to change the screen, and she's going to go ahead and come on the phone and start sharing her screen.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's Keitzman, but I don't correct anybody. I've got Kletzman, Kietzman. My maiden name wasn't easy either, so, I'm used to just not having my name said correctly. If you're a good German, you know it's Keitzman. If you're not a good German, you say it the other way.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
I'm so used to that. I almost didn't even say anything. Thank you, Charlie, for inviting me. It should have been a two-person show. Emily is my partner in crime. She had the audacity to get plane tickets to go to Las Vegas right before we set a final date for this, and she actually offered to log in while she was on vacation to help me do this, and I told her that was kind of silly. So it's just going to be me. I am going to share my screen, which means I will not be able to see the chat window. Actually, I get distracted by that anyway. I'm having a squirrel day to begin with, so I'm trying really hard to focus just on my screen. Unfortunately, I can see the front desk from my office as well. So, we got somebody out here who you can probably relate to. He keeps taking his shoes off and yelling curse words into his cell phone. So kind of keeping an eye on that as well. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So if you go ahead and feel free to use the chat box. Charlie's just going to go ahead and share that with me. Feel free to ask questions at any time throughout. And that's not going to bother me. Oh, hey, look, I want you to see my desktop. Hopefully we won't see a whole bunch of pictures of my dog and kids. Nope, looks like it's going to behave itself. So, okay. The cool thing about, we did all of this actually, the entire presentation was done in Canva. And while it makes slides hard to make, I kind of get tired of the slides anyway. So what we've done is we've actually turned this into a printable PDF, which is really nice for portability. As you know, sometimes you go to a conference or even to make a presentation to just in your neighborhood and nothing works. So we have learned, just ignore that my computer's slow. Whoops, we know that. When I get there, I always have it on a thumb drive. I have it saved in Google Drive, and then I have, my actual PowerPoint. This is nice because it's completely portable, and pretty much everybody can use a PDF. So we did present this at ARSL, or ARSL if you want to say that. I don't like saying that. That's just means ARSL in last fall in Fargo, North Dakota, and I hope you're all considering going to the one in, is it Utah? Yeah, in next year, this coming year. I've already signed up. I got one of the last hotel rooms still available, and I was trying to sign in from a hockey rink and couldn't get in right away, so it was so busy I got sent out. So please consider making a presentation there. This is the second time I've done it, and the people who come to see it are really, really appreciative of what you do, and we've all got stuff to share. So I'd highly encourage that. So the first part of this is actually going to be a little bit of just kind of a refresher and you're all doing graphic design. So I won't spend a ton of time on this part, but if you want me to slow down or stop or go back over one of the things, that's perfectly fine. Just let me know. I'm going on the assumption that since you've all been doing this, some of this is either something you just innately know or have learned or taken a class on. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about some design basics. We're going to talk about some of the tools that are available. We're going to talk about why we like Canva here, although it's not the only thing we use. We're going to talk a little bit about infographics. That will be shorter than usual because that's actually Emily's baby. And while I use it occasionally, she infographics everything. She just loves it. We're going to do some critiques together, so there's a little bit of interaction. And then when we did it in person, we did some on the fly, like we had people toss ideas out to us and we tried to do them. We actually ran out of time because we had so many questions. So we won't get to that. And then somewhere in here there's going to be a screen that says you can win a prize. That's over. Sorry, there's no prize. So that's what we're going to do today. A little bit about color. I actually have, okay, so my son, who's in high school, has a friend who works at Ulta Beauty. And I went in there and I said, I need something different. Like, I'm so bland. I'm so blah. And what's funny is, the palette she sold me for eyeshadow looks almost exactly like this. And she's standing there patiently explaining to me that, the orange with the blue. And I'm like, yeah, I know that. Just give me the eyeshadow. So on the wheel, opposites are complementary. So they go well together. So reds and the light blues, yellows and the blues. This is all stuff that you probably just know just from looking at things. It's just something your mind automatically finds soothing and something that it wants to see. If it's side by side, they're analogous, which you can use them. Just know that those are more shade variations, and some people have trouble seeing those and processing them. What surprised me about this was, I always stood hard and fast to be next to each other or directly across. And what Canva has opened up to me is a whole world of taking chances with color and design that I would never, and I've taken classes. I've done graphic design classes, and there was a box put there that said it must be this way. And Canva has really, just from their basics that I may not even be using, really kind of opened up this, well, let's try it and see what happens. I mean, you've lost some time, but you're learning a lot the whole time you're using Canva. This is directly off. Some of these are going to be examples directly off Canva. This one is the purple and the kind of tealy color I would never have thought of. The font isn't fancy, which you'll find in Canva. A lot of them are not, and it's intentional. The people who do Canva are actually graphic designers, so what they're putting out there is definitely cutting edge in the field and current. So the teal and the purple, which is now becoming in vogue, was when we first started using Canva a little over a year ago, was not something I would ever put together, but I love the combination. It really, really pops at me. Plus, purple's my favorite color. This one also is not a color combination that I would have considered. Also, this is straight off Canva, and that's that kind of funny orange with kind of it's almost a tealish blue. I don't even like orange, even though it's in our logo color. I don't really care for orange, but I love this look. Some of it's going to be the symmetry I like too. The color combination to me is very interesting and not something I would have chosen. I'm pretty much a blue on white kind of person. That's the way you've always were taught, blue on white. So this one I really love. This peachy pink color with sort of the tan color in the background. I love when it says Mexico because it really gives me sort of that, not quite Caribbean, but definitely a vacation vibe. It's definitely a fun vibe. So this was a color I never would have considered using either, and we've actually used it in a couple of things since this example popped up. And this one is just gorgeous. Normally when I think red and green, I think Christmas, and that's why I avoid using it. But this is so not Christmassy, and it's not because of the picture, and it's not just because there's actually raindrops, although you guys maybe have raindrops at Christmas. We don't, but for us it would be covered in snow. But the green is such a deep green, and it's kind of faded out, and the red is such a deep red that it does not make me think Christmas. It's just gorgeous. I love this one so much. I'm holding this one back. I'm not sure what I would use it for, but I definitely want to. Yeah. Oh my gosh, my computer's just throwing up all sorts of information we don't need. So a little about design basics. So for space, Canvas really excels at minimalism. They like negative space. You can see those two examples over here. Lots of negative space in both of these. They use negative space to kind of put out chunks of information to make things sort of stand out from each other. And make sure you're editing, because if there's one thing that really is difficult about Canva is because it's so minimalistic. You can't be quite as wordy as normally you would like to be. So we've had to work really hard on just essential details. What do I need to know? When do I need to be there? And how do I tell you I want to be there? And basically that's all we put on it. What we'll do later is then we link it to our calendar online, which is something that we use for free. And you can get more information about the event by clicking on the event on our calendar. But we've learned to just drop as much of that as we possibly can. And we'll see some examples where it's information overload, and your eye and your mind don't know where to go to get the basic core information that they need. This one is gorgeous too. I mean, look at all the white space up here. It's basically half completely white and half pretty much completely dark. It's got the city scene, kind of moody, which, it's New York City. I suppose it's supposed to be moody, but I just like to use it. And there's no color in this, really. It's all grayscale for the most part. And it really pops. You would think boring with black and white, but I think it looks really cool like that. And this is my favorite. I like that it's almost all completely dark. That on the far left, over here you've got sunshine coming in, but it's a very small part of the picture. The rest of it makes it look mysterious, like you have to be invited because the door is open. It's someplace kind of secret. And then the words just huge and popping out. That's all you need to know. There's wine tasting. And then that's all I need to know. Maybe no one else wants to go to wine tasting, but I sure do. So this is one of my favorites. It has a lot of impact, but there's, very few words on it, very little text, has a lot of impact. And this is my favorite just because I would rather be there than here at the moment. Our weather is horrible. It's not snowing, but it's been raining for almost a week straight. I need some sun. So this, again, very minimal words. The picture very evocative, dark at the top, dark at the bottom, but sunshiny in the middle, kind of bright. So a good example of using the negative space well. And while it looks really centered, and it kind of is, notice that just because we're going to get to this in a minute, that all of the text is actually justified to the left. So while the picture looks centered in thirds, which is fine, the text is not. And that's why that works so well. Balance. So this is something that I have a terrible habit of this down here, where I put everything on the left and everything on the right, or I used to center everything, text, pictures, everything. One thing Canva has broken me of is centering everything. It's very big on balance, which balance is not having the equal amount of white space in between all of your items on your PR. It's making sure that there is balance. So here everything's pretty much in the middle. Here everything is truly balanced. And down on the right, there's a balance because there's a white spot in the middle and about as much circle on the left total as there is on the right. They also use some color to bring some balance as well. So a good example of balancing things out without being boring. Asymmetry or symmetry, you guys probably know all about this. I just like that floppy tree on the right. It just looks so like my life, really. I want to be the tree on the left, but I'm really the tree on the right. You can use symmetry, and people like that. That's actually soothing to the brain. There's actually research that shows that symmetry is what we're looking for. It's something that always makes our brain happy. Asymmetric can be interesting, though, because it forces you to actually look at it. So I look at that and I'm like, is that a tree or is that a guy with a big nose? No, it's a tree. So it does kind of make you slow down and think about it. Just remember that not everybody is necessarily going to get that that's a tree and not a guy with a, well, now he looks like a guy with wings on his back too, but let's not go there. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Symmetry does not have to be boring. It's sometimes actually what you need. This is an example of asymmetry. Over here on the left, they're just kind of scattered. And this one's, the middle one's very symmetrical. The one on the right is also very symmetrical. So the one on the left, I actually prefer. That might just be because I have a strange brain. I just like it because it looks creative. It looks like motion. It looks like somebody just threw them down on the desktop. The middle one is very pleasing just in the sense that it has some dimension and depth. So it actually makes it look like there's some distance actually on the page, gives it sort of a 3D effect. The one on the right would be really cool, especially if the only text you're going to put in was in the circle in the middle. That would really bring a lot of attention to it. But then it limits the amount of design space that you have for text. This painting should not work. It's a Kandinsky. We actually did this is going to sound so weird. Last year, our in-service was we actually did painting class, like we didn't get to drink because it was on city property, but normally you bring a bottle of wine or whatever and paint. So this lady came in and did it as a team building exercise. And Kandinsky was actually what we painted, not this one. This one's way more complicated. This, I just don't see how it works, but it does. And the reason it does is it's asymmetrical, but in an organized way. So you have a circle in the upper left, you've got a circle in the lower right. You have circles in the lower left, you have circles in the upper right. While it does not look distinctly symmetrical, and it is not, there is still a continuity of pattern and of balance. If you'll notice, there's very little white space. It's all kind of mushed together, and that works for this because it's not realistic. So that's what you would expect. The use of color is interesting. Normally I would not be it's just an odd. The lavender down here in the right doesn't seem to me like it would fit, but it really works in the whole. So we've been finding some inspiration and looking at art that normally I would be like, I would never hang that in my house. I don't care how much Kandinsky gets for it. Well, he wouldn't, but however much his estate or whoever would get for it, I don't care. It's ugly. But then I start looking at these artworks as a little bit of inspiration, and while I would never design something like this, if I could, I'd be a Kandinsky, and then I wouldn't be in a library anymore. But it really gives me some ideas on some things that I can try and challenge myself a little bit, and maybe be less stuck on what I've always done. Oops. Sorry. So weight. These boxes, these squares are exactly the same size, and we checked, we double, triple, quadruple checked. The weight is that the black looks like it's almost going into the back of the paper, and the light blue actually feels like it's coming out. So there's definitely visual weight that goes into those just because of the color that they're done. and they're next to each other, so it allows your brain to compare them directly. If they were not next to each other, you would not get the same effect. It would look like two boxes, one's black, one's blue. This is also another way to do weight. Again, I feel like the square on the left is kind of popping out at me, and the one on the right, which is, they're all grayscale, actually looks like it's receding. It's almost like you're walking into a hallway or into a room. So just that one change, that's it. The color in the middle has completely changed the way that it feels. This is also a way to do weight, and the weight is just to how you're distributing what you have in there. The one on the left down here, the purple, actually looks very dense, and it feels kind of heavy, not in a bad way, it just feels much more dense. Over on the right, partly because it reminds me of a quilt, seems like it's got more distance, it's lighter, it's airier. So just even the same pieces repeated on something else, just try moving it around, try giving it a little space, try taking away some of the space, overlap some things, and just see how it feels to you. Gut instinct, like a lot of things in libraries, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's exactly what we need. So here's some basic do's and don'ts. These are Emily's favorite. She actually did these horrible, horrible slides. We giggled a lot about these. She found some that were probably not appropriate, but they were funny anyway. Limit the number of fonts that you use, and the simpler the better. Limit the number of colors that you use. Unlike Kandinsky, we can't all produce something that looks that good. So you don't want to use every color of the rainbow. You probably want to stick to 2 or 3. Using high-res images. I don't know how many other people are annoyed as can be. We just had a Facebook cover that somebody else did, and it was super fuzzy, and I was the only one who saw it, and I didn't see how I was the only person. But please use high-res images. Don't use those low-res. If it looks fuzzy on the screen, it's going to be fuzzy when you print it out or post it. And later I'll tell you a little bit about how to use Canva in other mediums, just because of the way the images come out. They do have some issues with the fuzziness. Just consider your choices. Try different fonts, try different text, try different images, play with it. Leave yourself enough time that you aren't just rushing to get something done. And we do a lot of creating it, stepping away from it, and coming back to it later. Or we also use our Canva account. We share items with each other. So I'll get done with something that I've worked on for a long time and say, you know what, I can't even look at this anymore. I can't tell if things are spelled right. So I share them with the rest of the team, and the rest of the team can go in. They can even make changes or not. They can just give me feedback. So that's kind of a nice part of Canva. Don't use Comic Sans, please. I know it's cute, but it's so overused. Clip art is fine in moderation. Pictures are actually better, and don't mix clip art images. I know it says mixed types of images. That means don't. You can sometimes, but clip art with actual photos it doesn't look good. I'm not sure. I think it's because it makes the clip art look kind of cheap because photos are so rich, especially with color. Please don't have typos. And that's like I said, after I looked at something for a while, I can't spell it anymore. So I actually share it with other people and let them kind of give me some feedback. And sometimes I've missed the design thing that is so obvious once they say it. I don't know how I missed it. And Canva's really big on bleeding off the edge, which used to bug me because I'm a very like frame it perfectly kind of person. A lot of Canva is just right off the edge of the page, and you saw that in some of the other examples. There's basically no white around the edges, which really kind of fills up the space, and sometimes that border is a little bit distracting, especially if you have a dark image and a light border. These are something that Emily pulled together, and I gave the handout, so you don't need to quick write these down or anything. But these are some different tools that you can use to get images that aren't going to, get you in a lawsuit. So she has used all of these. I've only used some. She likes Pixabay. They are copyright free. You don't have to do any attribution. They're good quality, really searchable. It is pretty much all photos. The Unsplash is very similar. I think she said it doesn't search quite the same way, not quite as well. The free images requires registration. That's free, although that irritates me. I get so tired of having to sign up for stuff. If you do your search, narrow it to free because not everything on there is free. They are good quality. The textures is good for backgrounds and layering. It's not necessarily a photo site, but something where in Canva you can upload your own background, and we've used it for some of that. Flickr, of course, the Creative Commons part of Flickr. If you go into the public domain categories, you're fine. Google will actually let you limit by rights, and I have to say I'm not as good about that as I should be. I tend to do a Google image search and then, oh, I like that one, and then I remember after I've done it, oh, you know what, I probably should have made sure I was actually allowed to use that. Icon Finder is pretty awful, but it's free. And the Noun project she just stumbled on, and she loved it. You have to kind of read the instructions on that one, but she's shown you there how to search it so that you can find it. She really likes that one, and it was a new one to her. If you want to see some licensing overview, just so that you make sure that you're kind of staying within the bounds, because copyright law is not something any of us, I think, are particular experts at. I think I am, but turns out I'm not. So she put a link in there so you could just take a look at some licensing information to give you a better idea of what you can use and when you have to use attributions, all that good stuff. Okay, so that's my dog, which I didn't know she was going to use this picture. She made this slide, so I had no idea she was going to use this photo. What she did down here, she's talking about, she uses it for everything. Actually, we all do. You do have to sign up for an account on it. It's completely online, so I actually do it. I can do it from home if I want to. I don't. My staff's not supposed to, but I do. And I can go anywhere in the building to use it. They have all kinds of free tutorials, and they also have a newsletter that they send out periodically. One day it was simply about pairing good fonts together. That's all it was about, and you can access those on their website too. Lots of things, lots of layouts. I love starting with their layouts. The free images are kind of iffy. There's not a ton of them. You can upload your own though, and you can actually, there are some plans where you can buy some of the images, and they're $1 a piece. I'm too cheap. I won't do it. So we always find a way around that. Now, I don't know if you guys know about Canva for Business. If you're an approved nonprofit, and this is really easy to get, it's, you can get the business, which is what allows you to do the sharing and creating a team. It allowed us to upload our theme colors, meaning what are the colors on our business card, and our actual logo with a clear back. So there's no white around our logo anymore. It actually is seamless and can go onto anything. So that was the part, I think, that was so exciting for the business. I was like, you know, who cares, right? Well, it's actually really easy to get. They answered us very quickly. It doesn't cost you a penny, and it makes working together a lot easier. And you can, not that you want to get it from anywhere, but you can get it from anywhere where there's internet access, so that's kind of nice. It's not like a publisher document or something that's actually stuck on your device itself. So yeah, that's my dog. They're all, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. This is Charlie. Kara has a question. Doesn't
Sure.
Canva charge for the printout? I have an account, but it wants to charge.
No, we haven't paid for anything. We print them out all the time. I hope that if I don't answer that question when we actually go look at Canva, because we're going to, let me know. I'm not sure why it's wanting to. Oh, you may have used images that have a fee. And we'll take a look at what it looks like. It's a little sneaky how they do it, but I'll bet it's because it'll let you do anything with those images until you go to download or print, and then it wants to charge you for them. So I'll bet that's what's happening. But remind me if you don't see that addressed, make sure that you stop me again and let me know. These are all filters of things she did actually on Canva. She looks adorable. She's a stinker. And I don't mean Emily, although she is too, but the dog is, well, we just put her on doggy downers because she's completely nuts. But that's neither here nor there. These are some different tools that she uses besides Canva. I don't use much of these. I've used PictoChart a few times, and that's kind of, like I said, we'll talk about that a little bit. She had just discovered Librarian Design Share, which is where libraries can share with each other. And everybody kind of, you know, that's how we are. One of us creates it, the other one loves it, go ahead and use it, we don't care. You know, just change the info on it. Pixlr we use all the time here because we have digital signage that requires that our images be very specific pixel sizes. And so Pixlr is the easiest way to do it. We don't even have an account on there. You can go in and just use their desktop tools, no problem. Lots of things you can do with your photos on there. Even more so, I would say, than, you know, like your phone filters. This is 100 times more than that. So I set aside some time to play with Pixlr. We really like it. Easily is something we don't. She uses sometimes for infographics. She prefers PictoChart. But you do have to have a free account for that one. You do for both of them. There are a lot of layouts ready to go. She thinks it's a little harder to work with, so you might want to play with it and see, you know, compare the two. And like she says, it does take time to experiment. So you might want to start with PictoChart, and if that's not giving you everything you need, switch over to Easily and see if it's something that maybe gives you more of what you need. PictoChart, like I said, we have something called, I can't remember what she calls it now, but actually she hangs a newsletter next to the staff toilet. We have one bathroom for all of us to share, which is fine because we don't have to use the public bathroom then. I don't have to tell you why that's a problem. Oh, it's called the toilet paper. Yeah, that's what it's called. Anyway, she updates it whenever she feels like it. It says that right on there. She's in charge of our staff morale committee, which is basically costs us nothing and makes everybody really happy. So she puts it up there, and it's almost all pictochart stuff because, you know, depending on how long you're going to be sitting there depends on how long you have to absorb the information. So she likes to make it real quick bullet points, interesting and eye-catching. You know, I've read the one that's in there now probably 20 times. I can almost tell you back verbatim what it says, but it works because now I can tell you verbatim what it says. So really easy to edit, lots of things you can do to it, and it provides a lot of things for free within the actual software itself. So I'm actually going to switch right now, and we're going to take a look at, oops, well, I thought we were going to. Here we go. I want to take a look at, yep, any day now. There we go. Nope, I lied. I actually need to go to, hang on a minute. I hope you can still see this. This is, I'm logged in already to Canva. You do have to create a free account. So you'll see up here, it's got my name. It shows that we have a team, and that's because we have the free nonprofit. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I don't remember where you go to get that, but they have really awesome help that you can just email and ask them how to do it. You can't see there's a need help down here in the corner. Really, really easy to find stuff on here. Great help section. Fast response to email if you have a problem. So anyway, this shows that we have account settings and we have a personal profile. Our personal profile we set up, so this tells you everything. So this is an item that I've shared. You can share using actual social media between people. We don't do that because I'm really good at not looking at where I'm posting things, and it ends up either on my personal account and it should be work, and I'm just trying to, you know, get a feel for it, and I have 50 friends that are like, that looks really cool, and I'm like, yeah, you don't even work in the library, please, I'm sorry, wrong place. So down over here on the left, you can see this is everything we've ever created, minus the ones we've deleted, because, but these are just some of the things recently that we've done. This is a DVD poster. We put a bunch of DVD series out. This is actually, most of these you're going to know, this is actually a template, and all I did was change the words. I mean, that's how awesome. I would never have done that. The colors are kind of odd. I wouldn't have checked those, but exactly, that's exactly the way it was. I changed the text size and the actual words themselves a little bit. Some of these I'm not as proud of. This special hours one, that's also a template. All I did was change the words and resize the text a little bit. So those are all kind of posters. This is also actually something that is a Facebook post. So when you go over, so let's just show create a design. When you do create a design, you get tons of different choices. And I used to just be like, well, that's all you have. No, they have social media. They have things you can print out. They've got, if you're doing a blog for your library, trying to promote your ebooks or create an ebook, all kinds of different marketing. You can do a menu. I've actually used this layout before, not obviously for a menu, but for something where I need a long list of things, that's been a nice layout to use. We definitely do our current library brochure is done on here as well. All these social media, and I'll show you in a minute, the coolest thing they've done is you can auto resize, which doesn't always work great, but at least get you started. You used to have to save it, then start a whole new thing and start over. You don't have to do that anymore, and I'll create a quick one here so you can see what that looks like. The events one, we've used the postcards, and a lot of what we use it for actually are shelf talkers. They aren't even things that we're going to mail out because it's the perfect size for a shelf talker. We use it on book displays that we're doing to promote. We have these, I don't know if I've got them on there or not, we have these really cool things that we laminate that we put on staff picks that say whether or not you can get it on our other services, in our case, Hoopla and Overdrive. I think they're on here so I can show them to you, but you print those out in postcard size, and they're just perfect to clip onto the book or DVD or just to have on the shelf. And this is if you're doing Facebook ads, which we do them. They're very inexpensive. I highly recommend it. We only do a few a year. I think we spend less than $30 a year on them. But you can actually do your Facebook ad in this, so it is set up, ready to go. And if you didn't know this, Facebook has rules about how much text versus photo you can have in those ads. So it's important that this is already kind of set up, showing you how it should look. So let's do a Facebook post. So you just click on whatever it is you want to make, and I'm going to do a Facebook post. I don't even have anything I need to post about today, so we'll just make something up. The nice thing about Canva is we do a lot of our PR ahead of the time and then just save it. And so if one of us is out sick, if we've actually shared it, anybody else can post it. It's not a big deal. So let's see, I'm trying to see if there's one that's actually somewhat of, oh, there's your sunset picture, by the way. You'll see a lot of these are things that I've already used quite selfishly. So actually we used this one. I think we used it just like this. So I click on it, it brings up the outline for me. And then if my computer decides not to freeze, which it's gonna now, yeah, we know. You should be able to click on any one of these elements. Oh, are you kidding me? Why is it always when you need your computer the most, it just totally croaks on you? Oh, there we go. So I want to change the text. So all you do is click on it. You can see that there's some things up here. This is the font that it is. Whoops. That's the font that it is. Then it'll give you the option to change color, size, bold. You can center it, you know, all different. You can even change the space between letters, which is very powerful. You can copy it so you can paste it and use it, the same phrase on the page. You can rearrange front to back, kind of like those of you who are using Publisher in particular. They do have a move things front to the back kind of thing. It's a little more intuitive than it is on Publisher. Sometimes when I move things back, all of a sudden I have a white chunk I didn't intend to have, but this is a little more intuitive. Up here, you can change the transparency of anything on here, and I'll do that with one of the graphics. Over here is where you can put in a link. Those have not been real great. I can't say that they're the best thing I've ever used, but it's better than having nothing. So I'm actually in the box. I think we did something for Thanksgiving. I can't remember what it was. We'll just say thanks. So not so fond of the font. And you'll notice that when you do these preset ones, which this isn't, sometimes we do our own, but if you want to do real basic, use the preset ones. I'm not overly fond of the font, but notice how it resizes for you automatically. That's one of the things I don't like about the pre-done ones. And then seriously, it is an overwhelming number of fonts. I love that as a person who wears bifocals, they actually have the samples big enough that I can read them. Publisher is horrible. I'm actually squinting and trying to move my bifocals up and down to see it. So we'll pick one. I'm not sure if Comic Sans is a choice on here. So there, got a whole new font. I don't like the color. I just click on this. It'll give us some options. These are the colors already in the document. These are our brand colors, which is odd since I don't like orange, but I'm the one who came up with them. And this is the default palette. You can use any of these. You can add another palette. You can do all kinds of, whoops, I just changed it to blue. So we'll just leave it that way. That's fine. So now each of the elements in this are actually their own graphic. So here I've got this leaf. As soon as it actually pops up, I can turn it. I can delete it. I can crop it. I can put a filter on it. I can make it more transparent. So I can totally fade it out if I don't like how bright it is. It's amazing that this is ready to go, but I can completely edit it almost any way that I want to. So say that I have finished everything. You can change, on these pre-done ones, it's really hard to change the actual color scheme. It won't let you. If you start from scratch and use their graphics and put them in there, especially their line art drawings, really easy to change the color that you have on them. But like I said, for down and dirty, got to get it done. I don't want to spend a bunch of time playing with this. The pre-done ones are the best. And they're really cool, and it's just ready to go. So when you're done with it, it'll tell you up here that you can share, download, and I don't have this shared with my team right now. It has named it Thank You because that's the pre-name. So you can go to File, and I cannot recommend enough that you do this every single time, and I'll tell you why in just a second. So it said it last saved. I don't care. I'm going to click Save anyway. You can actually just click on the name and say, you know what, I don't want it to be that. I want it to be Thanks. That's it. You just click on the name, change the title, you're done. Now, what happens with these is, so say I moved this a little bit and I'm still clicked on this and I go to do save, that change does not save. So always, always, always on Canva, click outside of the actual graphic when you've made a change and then go force it to save again. It's told me before that it saved and it didn't. They do get some server hiccups. So sometimes that's part of the problem, but it's also that it does not recognize any change until your cursor is completely off of the graphic. So just make sure that you're doing that. If you have a team set up, I can actually share it with them. So then that's just to click on share. Okay. There we go. So you can see I haven't shared it with my team. They can edit, they can view, or I don't share. So I'm going to say that they can view it. And you set up your team from the get-go when you set up that account. You actually can set up your team when you do the, they each have their own account. So Amy has her own separate one, Emily has her own, and then just to keep things uncluttered, we only share the stuff we really need the other person to see. So those names automatically pop up. It's shown, it's available to my whole team, and you can do it off of there as well. I don't want to do any of these things. I never do those things because I'm always afraid it's going to end up in the wrong place. Now, where the downloading might get weird is if these were not free images, and I'll try to pull one of those up so that you can see what it looks like. You just go to download, and it will preset your file. There aren't a lot of choices here. That's it. Those are your choices. It will pre-choose for you, so I know that it knows I'm trying to do a Facebook post. It says you need to do PNG, and I always, always, always go with the recommended. For this stuff, I don't do PDF, and I'll show you why I do use it sometimes because I'm going to print it directly, so that's fine. But if I was going to save this and I wanted to put it in as its own picture, this is going to sound crazy, but to keep it from being pixelated or kind of fuzzy, you actually choose PDF print, and you tell it to download, and then you do use the tool, and you actually take a snapshot of it, and then you use that as your graphic. Why it's that way, I don't know. It took us a long time of really ugly, fuzzy printouts to get us to figure out that that's how we had to do it. It's a pain in the hiney. I don't understand why it does it that way. It doesn't seem to matter if it's our uploaded files or if it's their files. All seems to do it. So if you're going to use it in another, like in Publisher, because we do still use Publisher for quick things, things that we've already created that we don't want to go back and redo. So there you go. It's downloaded, and then you can just save it to your computer. So let's go look at the uploads. These are all things that we've actually uploaded. Please don't anybody question whether or not I should have them because I, like I said, for a long time was not double checking. We used Elf to create a meme. We used, oh, whoops, now he's on top of this. Well, we'll just pretend that's not it. We actually used this. That's actually, I created these for, these are actually just pictures of gumdrops that I basically cropped and stuck in. So you can upload anything. It's really easy to do. You just click on the upload. You go up to upload your own image, and there it is. It takes a few minutes. It's got a really cool graphic that it does. This is where it saved our logo so that it was actually transparent, which was really nice because I get tired of fighting that. And you can actually store your logos up in the logo. So I've uploaded different variations of it for people to use depending. So that's nice. That's part of the, when you do the nonprofit, the free nonprofit account. Okay, so I'm going to go back.
We have a question real quick, just kind of reviewing the process where you talked about printing out your image. So you're saying if you want to print the image clearly and save it as a PDF, then take a screenshot of it to keep it from getting fuzzy?
No, save it as a PDF. So let me, boy, I really made a mess of this. Don't design like this. It looks cool. So you can, oh, by the way, there's an undo that's actually pretty handy and works really, really well, unlike some of the Microsoft products that I don't think the undo works all that well. So if I was going to do it just like this, if I'm going to use this as a Facebook graphic, I'm going to take the one that they tell me to do, which is the ping, which is recommended. But if I were going to use this actual graphic in something else, so I'm not going to send it to Facebook, I'm actually going to put it on something I'm going to print out. Aside from this. So I could do it as a PDF print and just print straight from it if this is all I needed. But sometimes we'll create something on here that actually needs to be part of a bigger publisher file. So when we do that, we still do PDF print. So anything you're going to ever end up printing needs to do PDF print. But to add it to the document, you have to use a snapshot tool. So that's the difference. If you're actually going to print it, you've got to create the PDF print for it or it gets fuzzy. This, the way it is, if I'm just going to use it on Facebook, is perfectly fine. It'll be crystal clear. It'll be great. If you use the file that they recommend, the file type, you're fine. And it knows what you're trying to make because you chose it out of the sections, so it knows what file you should use, which sounds creepy, but it's a good thing. Did that clear that up? Sorry.
I think so. A couple of people are chatting in, and yes, she says, yes, it does. Thank you.
Sure. So over here on the left, just really quick, there's different layouts that you can use. There's different elements, and this is where we're going to look a little bit. I'm going to see if I can find you. Let's just do free photos. If you do free photos, everything in here is actually free. And you can see there's a little crown in the word free. Okay, that's awesome. It's pretty limited, by the way. It's still a company. They're still trying to make money. But as librarians, we know there's a way around everything. So let's get rid of the free photos. If you go down to, now all these things are free because you're a registered nonprofit. So that's kind of cool. So there are even some icons you can't get for free. So what you'll notice is they have the little crown with the free, and we're scrolling, and we're scrolling, and we're scrolling. I don't like any of those. It's inevitably the one I love. Oh, nope, I take that back. Those are all free. So it's always the one I love that costs money, and my husband will tell you that's just pretty much par for the course with me. The free stuff I don't actually ever really want any part of. They have, by the way, upgraded this. There's a lot more for free than there were before. Maybe it's under illustration. So yeah, I guess. As you can see, their free stuff is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't always fit what I'm trying to do. And it tends to not be the clip art that they charge for. It's those full-on photos that they charge for. So it might be easier just do it this way. So let me say I want to add an element. And I'm going to search, because you can search their images, by the way. I should have clarified that. So let's look for a turkey. And so now there it says $1 US. So this, if I put this in there, it'll let me do it, not a problem. But when I go to try to print or download it, it's going to charge me that dollar. So instead of this one, you can either upload your own, or you can scroll through here until you find what you want. But now notice how these are all $1. The nicer stuff, the cleaner stuff, the things that look more like a professional did them, they all cost $1. I have yet to pay for anything on here. You don't need to. You can make, even if you just stuck with their designs, which are free, they'll tell you whether or not they're free. I don't think we've made one yet that we didn't take off of a free base. So that did not come out right, but you know what I mean. So that's how you do it. Text, if you want to change, just add text. So you want to add a heading, you click on it. It puts the heading in over here. You then do it just like you were editing any of the text in the actual document. They have some cool free preset sort of design text. We don't use these real often. Usually I have it in my mind what I want, and that usually doesn't work with it. But they have some really cool ideas. These, again, are the color is set. So if you want to change colors, you either want to upload something of your own or something that comes more in the black and white. Excuse me, because a lot of those colors you can't change. Some you can, some you can't. Backgrounds, very few of these are free. So you're like, oh, cool, look at all these free ones. And then anything that's not basically basic, ta-da, all the really cool ones, cost $1. So I really like this wood one. Like, God, there's got to be a way to get this for free. There has to be. There's just no way that a picture of wood can be worth $1. Well, it's not. And so if I go, I want to upload my images. There we go, upload. And on here, by the way, things that are grayed out doesn't mean you can't get them. That threw me off the first time I used it. I think I ended up downloading, oh no, it was jars. They wanted pictures of, we were having someone coming in to do a canning program. And I wanted jars, but everything they had a picture for a jar for was expensive. So I just went out and got a free one that one I know for sure was okay to use. I love this because you can use personal photos. These are actually pictures of my dad. So we've done some pretty cool stuff with this. And I know it takes time. You have to play in Canva, and you've just got to keep working on it. The other thing I wanted to point out was up above, you'll notice every time you do something in Canva, it opens up another window, which I really hate, and it really drives me crazy, but it's just that's kind of the way it works. So really quick, let me show you how to convert. So I'm trying to find one that, well, we'll do this one. This was something I gave out to my staff on Valentine's Day. Then I can use it for everything. So I made this, it's postcard size, but say I wanted to do it, change the size. It used to be something you had to start over from scratch. But now you can go to File and Magic Resize, which cracks me up, and then you can choose or not choose any of the things on this list. It will do all of them. However, let me show you, so this is a postcard. Say I'm going to do U.S. letter. I'm going to do my abracadabra resize, and it's going to come up, and I'm still not going to like it because it's going to come up kind of weird, but it has all the elements in it that I then go in. See, it's not big enough, but now all of my elements are still here. So now I can go ahead and move everything around the way I want it. And then when I go to save, it still says working with you is awesome Saurus, which is fine. Let me make sure I'm clicked off my screen here. Because what's going to happen is it's going to save it. And it can save it under the same title because just like a file on your computer, it can have two different extensions. So there you go. If I finished fixing it up, you can then, now you've got a poster size. So I'm going to close these cajillion windows out because like I said, it really likes to give you. So the nice thing is when I'm doing like a big poster, I'm doing a Facebook push and I want to do Twitter as well or whatever, while yes, I still have to play with it, every element is already there for me and it did not used to be that way. So that's much handier, and that has changed in the last, I don't know, 6 months maybe. So yeah, these are all the designs we've done. We get to be a little more playful with this. We started these all from scratch. That one looks terrible, don't look at it. Some of these I'm not so proud of, some of them I love. By the way, if it's 5 degrees or colder wind chill, we don't empty the drops, just FYI. These actually are business card size, which is one of your options. Both of these are. And the download ones, this is so cool. We actually ended up laminating ours, but you wouldn't have to. We actually clip these onto the holders that have the handouts for those. And so in audiobooks, we have handouts for Hoopla and Bridges. Out in the books, we have it for Bridges, Hoopla, and out in the magazines, we have them for Zinio. So this is a really good way to not just get PR out there, but to actually do a little marketing inside. So this is one you can see that I resized 3 different ways. The Twitter one is awful, and I should have redone it, but I didn't. But it started out as this. We ended up doing this, and then we did a little project where we did pay it forward. But the nice thing is, thematically, I just had to resize it and change some of the text. So that is the down and dirty of Canva. I mean, that is fast, and I apologize. I know it is. But it's one of those things, like I said, you're just going to have to give yourself time to play. It's just that's what it takes. We have been messing with this just off and on. Not like I'm giving all afternoon to it, but definitely give it some time. You know, cut yourself a break. Try a few things you haven't tried before. Get outside that comfort zone. I think for me, that's the biggest thing for me on Canva has been getting outside that comfort zone. We'll look at pictograph in just a minute. Like I said, it's not my thing. So just out of curiosity, and I cannot see the text box, but I would just like some thoughts really quick on how you feel about, and I'm a Methodist, so it's okay to mock them, I swear, what you see here that does not work. And maybe I'll pop up that text box while we're, yeah. It's very busy, yeah. I know, where do you look first? That is a good question. It is hard to know where to look first. There is nothing in here that, and let me say about the thing about centering, sometimes it's appropriate, but when you center everything, it's like a river on each side of the text, and that is where your eye flows. It does not go down through the text. It actually flows down one side or the other, so that's why centering everything is kind of an issue. Yes, there's no negative space, correct. There is literally no real negative space. They've got something going on pretty much. No, this is real. This is totally real. She found it online. Way too many font colors, I agree. Yeah, it's something. Yep, mix of clip art photos. You picked up on that one too. Awesome. The text is difficult to read. Yep, it is. And you need to keep in mind that my father-in-law is colorblind, and so I'm extra sensitive to the greens and the reds together. As a person who's been wearing bifocals for a couple of years, I'm really sensitive about that as well. Some colors just don't go well together for reading. So yeah, you've got some black down on that dark green. It makes it a little harder to read. You've got white on top of light green. That's also hard to read. So yeah, see, you guys are on top of it. I didn't even need to show up today. How about this one? Also a Methodist church. I think it's the same one. Clearly Emily was like on a roll that day. I don't know. I will say that I like the background on the right hand. Well, actually, I like both of the backgrounds. I am watching the box. Yeah, there is a lot of text. That's probably my biggest problem with that face is there is a ton of text on here. Way too many colors. You want to keep looking at the shirt. So my theory is they'd have been better off with just the shirt. Like, get rid of all the stuff on the right. Get that kind of shrunk down and to get as little info as possible and to get the point across. Because I do love the shirt. I think it's actually really cute. Both sides do have a completely different look, correct. Too many wallpapers, also correct. Too many words, yep. It does look like 2 different flyers. It almost looks like you slice it in half and use it for 2 different things. It needs more negative space. No, it is not attractive, correct. These poor people, I just feel like we're picking on them. So yeah, all those things. I love both of the backgrounds, not together. There's just no point in putting them together. I don't understand it. But it's better than the last one they did. So I feel like they're learning something just, not from me. Bless them for doing the best that they can. So, okay, now I got the UPS guy like making faces at me in the window. Okay, you're right. Nothing has anything in common. All the images are like a weird different color. There's a lot of fonts on here. So yeah. It does do it. Yeah, you do think it's two different flyers because they look like they're two that are just kind of stuck together. Okay, this one is actually not the same church because I'm starting to feel bad for them, but what do you think about this one? What strikes you? Aside from the fact that that poor baby has no arms and legs. It is faded out, and it is much nicer than what we've already seen, Kara, correct. The red is not, I think they build down the red to go with the pink in their logo, which then I feel like pick a different photo, but that's neither here nor there. It does look like more like the cover of a magazine, which is, you know, in its own way is a good thing. Yeah, the red needs to be brought out more. It definitely does not feel like a holiday to me. Yep, you're all correct. This is much better. Yeah, the aqua color combo is weird, especially, I think it's because they're trying to match all of their graphics to their logo, which, while that's fine, in this case, then don't do the Christmas theme. I mean, you kind of need to decide, are you going to do one or the other? If you're going to do the Christmas theme, kind of stick with it. Your logo does not have to match the rest of it. Also, their logo is huge. I don't need to know who it is. I need to know there's a holiday sale event, and I know when, and then they have the address down below. That is really what I need to know. Yep, the stripes are very busy. There's a lot of things going on here that are good, that are an improvement. There is some negative space on here, but I think their problem is they tried to match everything to that logo, and that's just not going to work with the theme. Yeah, see, you didn't realize it was a logo, did you? It is their logo, and it is ginormous. I don't know what the point is having a logo that big. We never put our logo that big on it. We're more of a, this is what we're doing, and then down at the bottom is kind of a, and this is where you can do it. I think, you know, when you're a business and you're running your own business, your thing is always branding, 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 and you want to brand everything, and that's great, but you can brand it without having a fourth of your document be your actual logo. I agree. Yep, logo could have been in the corner and more colors to Christmas themes. There's nothing wrong with playing with your logo either. Ours is pretty basic. So this screen is, this is what happens when inspiration strikes. The picture on the upper left, branding. Yes, I'm pro-branding, Kara. Don't get me wrong. I am pro-branding, but my brand isn't that I am the brand. My brand is that these are all the things we do for you. So here's what we do for you. Here's who we are. Just sort of an aside. We're awesome. Here we are down here. So I was at the doctor's office. It's been a while ago. And they had this sign, and it said focus. And I thought, that's really cool. She likes your logo big. Well, she and I maybe should chat. I don't know. I liked the focus sign, and I wasn't sure what I liked about it, but I liked it. So I whipped out my phone and took a picture of it. And the receptionist was like, what are you doing? And I said, I really like this. I really like this. I'm going to take a picture. She said, okay. And I know she just thought I was crazy. And I didn't use it right away. I saved it. I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just really liked the layout. So I just took a picture of it and kind of held on to it. What we ended up doing was about 4 months later, creating this children's librarian job ad. And I'm not completely in love with it. We played with it forever. But the part I really love is what inspired me was I took pictures of things we've done in the library with the children's department, made them 4 of the colors, and we had to play with them because at first it looked like I was making a rainbow and just all a bunch of stuff. And what we did is we actually faded out the picture using, on Canva, actually using a color itself. So those are all actually just regular color photos. We actually added a tint to them. And so this is the ad that we made out of it. So we went from, I looked crazy at the doctor's office taking a picture. She probably thought I was trying to do something really nefarious. I really was just trying to steal their very extensive marketing team's ideas. And then we ended up using it. So if you see something you really like, but you don't have a use for it, take a picture anyway, or write down where you saw it. Just make a note, because you can get inspired by anything, even if it's not exactly like that. I just knew I liked the way it looked, and I wanted to use it again later. And at some point, when we haven't just hired a children's librarian, I'll probably use it again, just don't know how yet. So this is where you could win prizes, but I think, and you don't get to win a prize today. Also, I have no prizes for you. Really quick, I'll go over Emily's picto chart. This is one I don't know well enough to go into and show you how to do it anyway. So this is definitely a you play with it. She has tried every infographic website, I swear, in the world, and this is still her favorite. It's the first one she started. That's why you signed up. Well, it's a big loss for you. Sorry. My prizes stink anyway. Just that's the teens around here. So this is what she likes about it. It's free. You have to register. Lots of things you can work with. She found it very easy to learn. And a lot of the same shortcuts that you use in a Windows program. You can make really fast graphics. They actually have a few layouts. I know when I looked at it, I was a little disappointed. at the stuff that was pre-done. It actually requires you to do more of your own building. You can't zoom, so for me, if the screen makes it look small, I can't see it. We like to do our color matches, so we actually have like the RGB color number that we need, and so we make everything match that way. She can't find a way to do it on there, and it is measured in pixels. So to do the printable, you've got to do a little bit of math, which does not work for me. But she's got some, you can do custom posters. She's got some, and you'll have this in the handout. If you want a single sheet project, you use the poster size. You do file, page setup to change it to letter, and then you can do the block settings unchecked. This is how to get it to actually print the way you want it to. The first few times she did it, it was so bizarre. I'm not even sure what it did to it. It was bizarre. So this is kind of how to force it to print what it is. Is it complicated? It is a little complicated, in part because I don't think this way. I don't think in pictographs. I'm not big on numbers. I love the way they look. I just am not good at doing them. It is relatively easy to navigate. If you had any questions, Charlie will have our contact information, and you can actually contact Emily directly. She'd be thrilled to help you out if you needed it. What she produces on it is absolutely completely professional looking. You would think we paid a marketing group. So this part is confusing. It's a little, you have to fiddle with it a little bit to get it to print correctly. Actually using it is not difficult. It just takes a little more. It's really a lot harder to go in and just be like, boom, it's done in 3 minutes. In Canva, I can do that if I have to. In PictoChart, it's harder than that. It's not quite as intuitive. They don't have as much stuff, templates ready to go as much as Canva does. So, whew, holy cow, I did it, barely. So I'm going to turn the screen back over. Please continue to ask questions if you have them. I'm actually going to close down that window, though, on my screen so I can't see it anymore. Like I said, I get confused. Let's get rid of this. Yes, no, current. Now you're going to watch me fumble through. We don't use Explorer here, so I'm fumbling to begin with. Yep, let's get rid of this one too. Oh, well, forget it. She brought me back. Yay!
I'll just bring you back. You don't have to worry about it.
It's much better than watching me hem and haw trying to get back out of it.
Yeah, I can pull you right out real quick. So thank you so much, Kim, for that wonderful presentation. It was packed with information. I hope that was really useful for everybody. Just to wrap up a little bit, here at the end, a reminder, of course, this webinar, all of our webinars are made part and possible by the Institute of Museum and Library Services. Don't forget to follow us on social media, and I'm going to fly through these, but we do have some great webinars coming up the rest of this month. These are in the handout and as well in the PDF full-size slides, so plenty of seats still available for all of these, so please register today. And here is where we have Kim and Emily's contact information. As Kim said, please feel free to reach out to them with any questions. And if you would like to download your own copy of the PDF slides that Kim used today, you can do that in the downloads pod in the bottom left-hand corner of the library. And yes, thank you for specifying that Iowa. I realized there was more than one after I started looking for you guys.
There's Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and somewhere else. And the Pennsylvania people get really mad when you can't answer their questions.
Oh, I bet. I bet that's true.
When we said we were going to be, and it's like, because you're not even in the right part of the country, but okay.
Right. Excellent. Well, again, a reminder that this webinar was recorded. I'll have it posted on our archived webinars page within just a couple of days, so please feel free to share it with your coworkers or refer back to it if you start working in Canva and you want to help remember some things. So once again, Kim, we really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule as a director to do this for us, and I hope you don't have to go back and deal with the guy taking his shoes off. And
I think he left, but we'll see. I don't know. It's the only reason I have my name tag on is because I might have to run out there in a moment's notice. But thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry I had to rush through it, but there's just so much to learn. But, like Charlie said, feel free to contact us at any time.
Thank you so much, Kim. You have a great afternoon.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks, everyone, for being with us. When you're ready to exit, just click the X in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Have a great afternoon.